So what we're looking to do in the way of peace is to not only be peaceful and happy when things are pleasant, because then you're only going to be peaceful and happy some of the time.
That's right.
What we're looking to do is to, even during the unpleasantness of life, such as a situation like that, to find a way to realize that it's a big picture, that it is not something that is happening to us, that we are not a victim of our own life, that we take control of our life by saying, look, this is the life I have set up and maintained, and now I have a need to control it. So I say, let go of the need.
How would you do that then?
A lot of practice.
Well, give me some hints, because there are people watching us
Right.
that are going right. It might not be a job. It might be your husband comes home some night and says, you know what? I'm in love with my secretary.
Right. Which happens.
I can't live with you any longer.
Right.
And walks out.
Right. It
And
happens.
sometimes they walk out and move to another part of the country.
Right. The first thing to recognize,
terrible, yeah.
the first thing to do
Right.
as a practice,
Right.
and this is very important, is to, in any situation, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, and this I did for years and years and years, is I asked myself 3 questions.
Right.
First question is, how do I feel?
Yeah.
Right? In a very tangible way. When something occurs, I turn inward and I say, what's really going on inside my own skin?
What answers did you come up with, Rich?
It could be anything. I mean, it could be my stomach is tight. It could be my neck is getting tight. It could be I'm feeling sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
But it's always something tangible, because anything that occurs in your mind shows up in your body.
Does it?
It activates something within your own skin. So the first question is what is being activated? What's happening inside my skin? Then the next question is, why am I doing what I'm doing? Right? So because if you don't know how you feel, if you just act based on as a reaction of what occurred, you're going to fight outward because you've been victimized.
Right.
And when you're victimized, you attack.
Exactly.
And then when you attack, somebody else is a victim.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be attacked.
Right.
So this goes on and on. It's a vicious cycle of unhappiness.
Don't you think society gives you the wrong message? They say, well, don't be a doormat. Don't let them do that to you. You know, fight.
I am anything but a doormat.
No, I know.
Right. But so I'm not talking about passivity.
Yeah.
I am not talking about passivity.
That's what I want to
am
bring
talking about a very engaged life.
Right.
Right? So when things occurred, we
Right.
want to engage it.
Right.
I don't want to run away from it. I don't want to just let you beat up on me.
Yeah.
What I want to do, though, is not make it about you. What I want to do is make it about me.
Okay, that's
so
good.
I turn inward and I say, how is this affecting what's happening in my own
Right.
skin?
Yeah.
Now that I know what's happening inside my own skin, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
And the point of virtue is to try and act without an agenda of attack, of reaction, but of one of true response to get what it is we really want.
Right.
And what I have understood is that the only satisfying answer to the question is, what do I really want out of this situation?
Right.
And we can ask ourselves this question in any situation we're in,
All right,
whether it's
good.
the ones you described
Right.
or anything else. First, you have to know how you feel and why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
But we can ask ourselves our question, what is it I really want here? And the only satisfying answer to that is to be at peace. And if we start with that as the premise
Right.
of our response, that what we're looking for is peace, not to have that person give up the job so we can get the job,
Yeah, right.
not to get the spouse back so they're not making us look like a fool, or
Right.
not to get our bank account bigger again, or to get our house back, but to be at peace.
Right.
And when we use that as the foundation of our life, as the starting point, everything we do is based on
So
that.
in that situation that we've already set up, the man losing the job, how do you get to that feeling of peace? What do you say to yourself, and what do you do? And, you know, where's the recipe?
The recipe is knowing that's what you want, first of all.
Yeah,
You
you
have
want
to
peace.
know that that's what it is you really want.
Yeah.
And remind yourself that on a regular basis. The next recipe is the 3 questions. How do I feel? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And where have I done or felt the same way?
Yeah.
Done the same thing or felt the same way? Those 3 questions are integral to having an understanding of ourselves, because peace has got nothing to do with what's outside of us. Peace is not something that is out there.
Right.
And it's not ruled by out there. Peace is from within and from our connection to what everything from the
infinite
universe,
spirit.
our connection to spirit, our connection to Tao or God or however you want to say it, that it makes sense to your own mind.
Right.
But the idea is that when we have that connection by knowing ourselves well enough, then our foundation of everything we do is peace. So pleasant, unpleasant makes no difference.
Right.
Of course I want my life to be pleasant.
Right.
But when I'm happy and at peace, even unpleasant, I'm like, oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
I know it's going to change.
So in other words, you could make friends with that woman who took your job, like...
Oh, perhaps not.
No?
Perhaps not. I don't have to like everybody I know.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Right?
That's a good point.
I don't have
that
to like...
doesn't mean you have to like
I don't
it.
have to like your actions
Right.
to be at peace with the situation.
Good, yeah.
If you hurt my child,
Yeah.
I don't have to like your actions, and I will never like being around you.
Right.
But I can still be at peace with the whole situation. I've come to realize long ago that nobody ever does anything to us. We are just having an experience together. We are all just having an
That's very
experience
strong. Nobody does anything to us
together. We are all just having an experience together.
And you've applied that in your life, in every situation.
Everything.
Oh, I'll tell you something interesting. When I read this book and what you're talking about, I've got a lot, who doesn't have things going on in their life that they
Of
wish
course,
were there?
it's life.
But I have experienced so much happiness, and I think, where's that coming from? And as I said, I've kind of memorized this book and read it, and my copy, dog-eared and underlined and highlighted. And what you're doing is a tremendous thing. It really works, and it does have an impact.
I would say I'm happy to hear it has an impact.
Yeah.
I was called to share this message, and the interesting thing was the way that I was called to share it was told to just be myself.
Yeah. Is that what she said to you?
Yes, to be yourself.
Yeah.
And so I realized then if I'm to share a message of peace, I have to be at peace.
Right.
But
you can't go up to someone and say, "Now I want you to be at peace."
Right. I used to have a teacher, a kung fu teacher, and a tai chi teacher used to say to me all the time, "Just relax. Come on, you got to relax." It just doesn't work.
The worst thing, right?
Doesn't work, right?
Because then your nerves are.
But I had to understand what that means,
Yeah.
and of course, my life was not always that way. I went through the experience of post-traumatic stress disorder. I went through the experience of clinical depression.
Okay.
I went through the experience of real, true desperation and misery.
Right.
And now I don't live this way. I am happy. I'm content, regardless of what is going on in my life.
Right.
Truly. So.
And don't you think? I think most people have these tests, right? They do. Sooner or later, some bigger than others.
Right.
Some devastating.
It always feels big, though.
When it happens to yourself.
Yourself.
Yeah.
The pivotal points happen in everybody's lives.
Yeah.
So the idea is that I was called to be myself and share this message of peace. And but the key to all of it, in the last chapter in the book, actually, I purposely made it the last chapter in the book, is called discipline.
So talk about that.
There is no other way.
Yeah.
Every person I have ever met in every tradition, I've been very fortunate throughout my training over the last 2.5 decades to meet people of all spiritual and religious traditions, martial traditions, healing traditions, and people that have just risen to the top that you look at and you say, this person is what it means to be truly human. The best of what it means to be
Give
truly
me some
human.
examples.
One of the Carthusian monks that I met.
Oh, that's right.
My teacher, my Shufu, Master Yun Sheng Tsen, who we call Chen.
Right.
A friend of mine, a Lakota friend of mine who I did sweat lodges for years with.
Right.
Just the best of what it meant to be a human being.
Right.
And one of the things that they all have in common is they have a daily discipline. They do something every single day, and I aspire to them to be like these humans, so I do the same. Every single day I do something to nourish my body, to nourish my spirit, and to clear my mind. There is not a day that goes by that I don't have a formal practice for that. I truly believe there is no
So I know
way.
how you furnish your body. You eat something, the right foods, right?
And exercise.
And exercise. What about doing your spirit? How do you nourish your spirit?
The way of nourishing, that's a great question. I've never been asked that before.
Really? I'm a great person.
Yeah, I can see
There
that.
goes
That's
the
why I'm sitting
ego.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great question, and I think that's a very that comes from two directions in a way. From the tradition that I practice within, says the body must be healthy.
Right.
The body is like the water.
Right.
Right? The body's like the water, the spirit is like the fish.
Right.
If you have water that's polluted and small and drained and unhealthy, you're going to have a small, unhealthy fish.
That's right. Yeah.
If you feel great, so I would say the way to nourish the spirit is to feel great.
Yeah.
When we feel great, we sit up,
When you
our
describe
eyes get
the
bright, we get so happy.
Yeah, when you described the monks, you said they meditate so much that they have risen to a higher level of
Yes.
wellness and purity and
Yes.
all the good things.
So the other direction it comes from is of clearing the mind so that we are able to connect to that which connects us all.
Right.
So that's the way of nourishing the spirit. And by clearing the mind, we enter into stillness. Then instead of our energy going outward and dispersing, we are actually collecting and cultivating our
Right.
energy, which makes the waters healthier and
Right.
stronger,
Yeah.
so that our spirit rises.
Yeah.
So this is just, this is not an absolute truth. This is just one method.
But it's good because people, as you gave me those words, I thought, well, give me an example.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So, but for myself personally, daily Tai Chi practice, daily meditation, daily prayer, daily virtuous living.
Yeah.
Don't waste my energy.
Right.
Don't use my energy in ways that I lose my energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These type of things.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's been such a pleasure. I don't want you to leave. Let's do hours and hours but I hope you viewers all enjoyed Rick Marantz.
Yes.
Marantz, yeah. And the book, and you have to get the book. Where can they find it? Write to you, or
Well,
tell
there's
me how
two-
people can reach you.
Okay, well, there's two ways that the book can be had. It's called The Way of the Voice of Peace.
Yeah.
And it can be through Amazon. You can order it through Amazon or through the North Shire Bookstore,
Right.
which is where I had it printed at the Shire's Press. It's independently published.
Yeah.
The North Shire Bookstore in Manchester, Vermont, you could go to their site.
Yeah.
Or you can go through my website, Green Mountain Tai Chi, that's TAICHI,
Yeah.
greenmountaintaichi.com.
Right.
And that's my website. So.
Right. Or they can call me or the station.
Right.
My number is 508-875-6848. And here it's 508-881-9222. And I think at the screen they'll be having, all the information. Rich, rather. Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Oh, can you
Thank
move
you.
down and live with us?
I'm happy in Vermont.
And all your viewers, that's just touching the tip of the iceberg. And I'm so glad I met you.
Me too.
You'll
Thank
come
you.
back, won't you?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Good. And I'll just say goodbye to all of you, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I know I did.
Thank you.